Hello there, and a very warm welcome to Chazingdra Chats, the show where we take a stroll through the life stories of people in the Pokémon community, discovering the 6 Pokémon on their dream team along the way. I'm Charlie Merriman, Merri by name, Merri by nature, otherwise known as Chazingdra, a host and commentator for the Pokémon Video Game Championship Series, and a content creator. And this week, as every week, I very much hope my guest and I can make your day merry, because I have the pleasure of being joined by SOULSILVERART. Soul, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I'm super happy to be here.
No, I'm so excited to have you on as well. Of course, I have had Trader Lumi on, I have had Dusty Gogo on, and I just couldn't wait to round out the Hidden Power podcast trio and talk to you today. For anyone who's not so familiar with you, Soul, can you give a brief introduction to yourself?
Yeah, I am a Pokemon content creator. I now am probably most known for being on the Hidden Power podcast in public spheres, but I actually run a decent-sized Twitter account, or X account, we will call it, I guess. And yeah, that's probably my claim to fame at this point. But I make all kinds of theories and content here and there about Pokemon.
Fantastic, and I cannot wait to take a deeper dive. And also because, as I'm sure you know, Sol, I think this came up on the episode of Hidden Power that I recorded with you all. Generation 2, Johto, that is my favourite of Pokemon, yes. And of course with the name SOULSILVERART,
yes.
I'm sure that is very dear to you as well, and that's something we will unpack in just a moment. Yeah, I mean, when I came onto the Hidden Power podcast, I was there to talk about Pokemon Champions, I think, and then we spent 2 hours talking about other stuff, and then sort of tacked on a bit of Pokemon Champions on the end. So I'm looking forward to going even further in this episode, and it's the kind of thing where we could have just gone on for hours and hours and hours, and whereas this episode won't be 10 hours long, I'm looking forward to just vibing, just nerding out about Pokemon with you. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic for me. That's what I do, essentially. Perfect.
Great. Well then, let's get straight into it then. Yeah. Thanks so much for your honesty with what you're sharing with us today, and fascinating topics to dive into. What we're going to kick things off with here is your Italian heritage.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm Italian, and I think I just wanted to provide you guys all with some backstory, right? Because, getting into all of these points, I just thought, like, it all has to make sense. So, yeah, my parents are actually immigrants from Italy, so I am, like, second generation, I think, so I've grew up in the United States, and then but I have gone back and forth to Italy my whole life, and it's very, very dear to my heart. It's like, when I think about passions in life, it's like Italy is very much a passion of mine, and anything Italian in general, so it shapes a lot of my worldview, I'd say, a lot of just everything that's going on in my life.
Yeah, I mean, as we started talking about before we started recording, and then I stopped myself because I realised we're going to be talking about this in the episode. I also love Italy. I've been to Italy a few times. Of course, I'm much nearer to Italy than you are geographically, being based in the UK. And I've just only ever had incredible experiences there. Be it the food, be it the people, be it the stunning landscapes. And there's just always more to discover. I actually also studied Latin and ancient Greek at university. I studied classics. Wow. So awesome. I've always felt a strong connection there, and there's always more to explore in Italy. But when you say how it shaped your worldview and what it means to you, can you go into a bit more detail about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always had this drive to want to be there, and I think that comes from me being the American mindset, or the American culture. Let's say the culture is very different from my inner culture. You know what I mean? So I'm just more laid back, I'm more relaxed. I feel more like myself when I'm there in Italy, because of these things. It's not even so much all the things that you mentioned, while they are beautiful and wonderful food and beautiful landscapes. A lot of the time the people is what really keeps me there, even though people are people, but there's just I feel more aligned with the culture there. I think that's really where that all comes from. And like I said, I wanted to provide a backstory because there's stories that I will probably tell in this that have to do with me being in Italy for a great period of my life as well. I lived there for over a year on my own as well. So
okay, how old were you when you did that?
You know what? I didn't really nail down any age times on this timeline. I had to be probably in my early 20s. I'm a bit older than I look, so. But yeah, I think very early 20s was probably the time there.
Sure,
So.
okay. And as you were growing up in your early childhood, would you? So, how often would you be visiting Italy?
Oh, I've gone since I was in the actual womb. You know, like I was.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've gone back and forth. We go in the summertime for a month or two, depending on the years. You know, different years, different things happen. So yeah, I've just been going back and forth my whole life, every summer. So
Sure.
it's been a blessed time. Blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, in terms of where Pokemon feeds into all this, what's your earliest memory with Pokemon?
Yeah, so I mean, my earliest memory of Pokemon in Italy is actually very tied to just me and Pokemon in general. I mean, there was a huge boom here in America when Pokemon came out, but my uncle in Italy actually got me my first Game Boy. It's actually right there.
Oh, wow.
Right there. So he got me my first Game Boy, and the first game I got for it was Pokemon. So that's a huge part of me, you know. And I was a child, so, you know, just instantly in love with it all. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
I know that we're about to talk a lot more about that in
Yes.
your second topic, but just briefly for now, which version of Pokemon was it that your uncle got?
Yeah, so it is a little bit convoluted, but basically, my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Yellow, actually.
Okay. Pokemon Yellow. Great. Okay, well, let's
Yellow
now
version.
go from there, having teed up Pokemon, into what's going to be the first Pokemon on your dream team. So as a reminder, everyone, the aim here is not for Soul to build the most competitively viable team in any way. It's just the Pokemon that have been the most special to Soul over the years, and Soul can define that for himself in whichever way he would like. I have no idea what they are. He's decided on them in advance. So tell us, Soul, what's going to be Pokemon number 1?
So my first one is actually Charmeleon of all the Pokemon. So I took what you just said to heart, because actually when when you had invited me to come onto this show, I was like, I don't want to reveal my full favorite team ever, you know, because I haven't done that yet. But the way that you have framed it is perfect, because these are the ones that are influential in my life, I would say. Most of them, I've had a moment in my life that they've been special to me. So Charmeleon was my favorite first Pokemon, the first one ever. So that's it's a big one for me.
Okay.
I can go into detail as we go on, for sure.
Sure, yeah. Well, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
so what is it about Charmeleon that makes it your
Yeah.
original favorite Pokemon?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, Pokémania was everywhere, and I loved the lizards. I loved the reptiles. Like a little boy growing up in America, loving the reptiles. So when I would look at different forms of media, when Pokemon first happened here, it was weird for me because I didn't actually get, like I said, red or blue. It came out earlier in Japan, so here in America it was prolonged, essentially. So I saw posters, I saw books, I saw everything, and Charmeleon was the one for me that when I looked at it, I was like, I'm in love with Pokemon because of this this little red dragon. And I wasn't, this is wild, but I wasn't like a crazy Charizard fan. Like all the rest of my peers at that time. I don't know if that's just how I'm wired, because I still to this day with my own opinions on Pokemon, I usually am going for the niche ones, and it's not because I purposely try to. It's just that's what I like, I guess. And Charmeleon, to me, I loved the red compared to the orange. I loved the one horn compared to the two horns. If Charmeleon had wings, he would be perfect, for me. So that's really the difference.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, because I was thinking that maybe you prefer Charmeleon to Charizard because you just prefer lizards to dragons. But actually, no. It was just you prefer Charmeleon's designs, and dragons are quite cool.
Yes, exactly.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It spoke to me more, I guess, when I was a kid, and it was super influential because we only had Gen 1 back then, and not even any mythicals or anything. It was just the 150, and they were everywhere. And I had other ones that I really liked, but Charmeleon was my that's the one.
Yeah. Well, this is how it works sometimes. Sometimes you just see a Pokemon and it just lands with you differently from all of the others. So, Charlie, and welcome to Soul's Dream Team. And if you're enjoying this chat with Soul, everybody, please do like and subscribe. Soul can attest to it. It really does go such a long way.
Yes.
Just a couple of simple clicks. And thank you so much for your support there as well, Soul. But we've got so much more conversation to have. So let's go from there now. Let's flame wheel from there. Actually, that's more Typhlosion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's flamethrower over from there now into what exactly you set up there, living through Pokémania.
Yeah. So, I mean, what a magical time that I wish that all Pokemon fans could experience, because, you know, nowadays there's the younger crowd that have come in, and I mean, even younger than the younger crowd, you know, like there's some that are like, my first game was, Generation 8. And I'm like, wow, that's wild, like Sword and Shield. So Pokemania was this time that it's when Pokemon basically came on the scene in America, worldwide, I would say. Other things were later than others, obviously, but other places were later than others. But there was just a craze that went around. And for me as a kid, Pokemon has become a part of my life because of that time, essentially. A lot of what I talk about and think about with Pokemon is based in nostalgia, for sure, and of that time frame. I would go to the like trading card game things. Like, I've never been about the trading card game essentially, except for this time. I would go there, we would trade cards and, try to battle them, but I was a kid. I don't know what I was doing, but they were just like these magical events. This was before the internet, essentially. The internet was there, but not like the big boom of internet, all of those kinds of things were not around. So we were just kids having fun and loving these monster designs. So that could go on, but yeah, if you have other questions about it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It is hard to overstate, as you say, just how big Pokémania was, because it was just literally everywhere for people of that age. It's all anyone was talking about in the playground and trading the cards, etc. I remember going to a family friends summer gathering thing, and just all of the kids there were playing Pokemon, and they brought their link cables, and there was red and blue, so people were trading. It was, I think at that time I was slightly too young to appreciate it, but for you were of an age where you could fully get invested in everything that was going on.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I was thinking about it this morning before we came on to do this, but I was just like, it was like, there was a time in my life that was before Pokemon, essentially. Like, obviously I was a child, but there was a time that was before Pokemon, and then there was a time where Pokemon happened, essentially. And that's a crazy feeling to remember. I'm glad I remember it, because some kids might not remember that. But yeah, I remember like when it was happening, like watching the anime, watching the movies of the anime. Those things really got me into it, and then I was like, I need the game. I need to play this, which is why Yellow was my first game, essentially.
Yeah, I was about to say, so it was then at that point that, as a gift, your uncle gave you Pokemon Lego. Pokemon Yellow. So
close.
How did it then feel actually playing through the games?
Yeah, no, I fell in love even more. I mean, it was crazy because I didn't have a Game Boy, I didn't have anything like that. I didn't have any kind of video games, and my uncle just one day in Italy got me a Game Boy, and I was so surprised, and so just like, what am I gonna do with this other than Pokemon? I was like, Pokemon. But I didn't have the game, so I think that I borrowed one from a friend at some point, and it was red version, so technically I played red version first, but I didn't finish it or anything like that, and my memories are so foggy from that time because I was young. So yeah, then I'm pretty sure for Christmas one year, or my birthday, I think it was my birthday actually, that my parents got me Yellow version, and playing it, I mean, I'm not like, I love Pikachu, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like the craziest Pikachu fan. So using Pikachu, like following me around, it was cool for a kid to be like, yeah, Pikachu's there, but I was like much more about Charmeleon, about like all the other Pokemon. But it was cool to see different sprites as well, because the Yellow version and red and blue versions had different updated sprites. So from playing Red, it was cool to just be like, oh, these are different, these are new. You know, there was like a little bit of newness to it. It was very exciting at the time, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think it was that spoke to you the most about Pokemon then? Was it encountering the new creatures? That's the sense I'm getting.
Yeah, so this could have been part of the backstory part, but when I was growing up, I only played with like animal toys. Like I was, my parents were like, he's gonna grow up and be a zoologist. You know, like it was always that kind of thing where it's like I was just in love with animals and creatures, and still to this day, I'm very much like, sci-fi fantasy based kind of person. Like with movies, for instance, a lot of times when it's like a true story, I'm like, I'm not so interested. I like the fantasy. Give me the fantasy stuff like all the time. So I've been wired that way my whole life. And Pokemon, I don't know, it's just something about Pokemon that is the perfect blend of all those things. Yeah. I also, it probably was Pokemon that shaped this in me, but the Japanese aspect of it, like the cultural Japanese part about it, is very like nostalgic for me. So that speaks to me as well in that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Have you been to Japan?
I have not. It is my number one place to go at this point in time.
I'm not surprised, yeah. I'm excited for you to be able to.
Yeah.
So those are the original games, and then so as soon as Generation 2 Gold, Silver, Crystal comes out, are you immediately on board?
Yes, immediately. This is like this is like me in full Pokemon, and the thing is about Yellow is I don't remember a whole lot either because I was young at that time. But Silver version, I remember so well. I remember playing in my car or my parents' car, just sitting there with the like big light magnifier thing that you had on those old Game Boys. And yeah, just falling in love with Lugia, with Scizor. Like these are some Pokemon that I love so much. A big part of all of this was actually the first movies. So the first movie with Mew and Mewtwo, that was huge for me. I think that was even before I got the game. I don't remember, but that was influential. But then the movie 2000 was just like broke my world. I was like, Lugia is everything to me. I want the PT Cruiser car. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but there was this car that was like looked like Lugia. They modeled it after it, which is funny because they're doing the same thing with like Koraidon and Miraidon now with like motorcycles. Years later, it still happens. But so those movies like were everything, and I played through Silver so many times and really enjoyed every bit of it. I was always Lugia than Ho-Oh, more than Ho-Oh. I chose my side. I picked my side.
Yeah. Silver was the game for me as well. My friend had Gold. Yeah. I'd say
my sister had Gold, so
I see. Yeah. No, very cool. Would you say that, well, I mean, given your online name, SOULSILVERART, I'm assuming the answer is in some way positive, but would you say that Johto and Generation 2 spoke to you more than your playthrough of Yellow?
Yes. The answer is just simply yes. I mean, I was still very in love with Pokemon before Gold and Silver came out. And it's very weird how the timing of everything was, because maybe it was already out, but I just didn't have it yet because of how it all worked. But yeah, it was so exciting to see new Pokemon. I think it was the first movie where they had the little Pikachu like short at the beginning of it, and you saw Donphan for the first time, and actually that might have been in the movie. I forget.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like Donphan for the first time, but also like magazines. Like you're looking through magazines, you're seeing like all these new Pokemon. It wasn't like so many, but at that time, they were already out in Japan, and for me as a kid, it was like searching for new ones. So yeah, Yellow was great, but Gold and Silver was next level. This is a story that's fun. I would go out with the neighbors just out in my like front yard, actually in the street a lot of times, and we would pretend to be Pokemon trainers. And so I would have my book. I think I still have the books right there, actually, which is crazy. But the guidebooks with all of the Pokemon,
Yeah.
like a Pokedex in it, right? And I would put like who's their name next to, like my neighbors, my friends, their name next to their Pokemon, and we would all we filled out the whole dex of which Pokemon were ours, and then we would just go out there and like, play pretend, imagination, right, of like throwing out our Pokemon and them battling, and I don't remember what happened, but I just remember doing it. So yeah, it was a magical time for sure.
Yeah, definitely fuel for the imagination. So, perfect way now to segue into what's going to be Pokemon number 2 on your dream team alongside Charmeleon.
So, it's funny. It is very related to all of this. My Pokemon number 2 is Mew, which is simply just because of this whole situation as well, which is there was one more new Pokemon after the original 150, and after that first movie, when you saw it, it was a very magical, like mysterious, obviously mythical situation where you're just like, wait, where's this coming from? There's more Pokemon than the 150. And it's weird because most of the designs that I like are not like the cutesy ones or, like I said, lizards and stuff like that. But I fell in love with this little kangaroo mouse rat thing. It was like, it was so adorable, and I loved it, and I looked everywhere for it. If there was like a new piece of artwork of it, I'd be like looking through magazines all the time, trying to find like the mysterious, like elusive Mew. And even the whole under the truck situation, which was really funny. There's a whole lot of fan things that were going on with like trying to find Mew in the game, even though it was or was not there. We don't know. So yeah, it was a really just great Pokemon, and it was my favorite Pokemon for a pretty long time. These years feel like they were long, but they probably weren't that long. So it was like Charmeleon, Mew, and so on and so forth.
yeah, sure. Yeah, the under the truck situation that you referenced there, just a fan theory, and it's amazing how that spread around the globe. That in the original games there was a truck near the SS and a ship in the games where Mew was lurking underneath it, and you could encounter it that way. But yeah, Mew. I think it speaks to so many of us on a very fundamental level because it's exactly as you say, it's that mystique and it's that unknown and just letting the imagination run wild. And I think, based on everything you said up to now about what has been fueling you, Mew makes total sense. So Mew, welcome to the Dream Team. Now we will transform over from there into a time when you were too cool for Pokemon and your music and art school.
Yeah, so... Yeah, it's funny. So after Gen 2, which I don't know how long it all lasted, I guess up until this point, I was probably around 13 or 14 years old. So a couple years later, Ruby and Sapphire came out, and it was still magical, like seeing the new Pokemon in magazines or guidebooks, stuff like that. But I didn't have a Game Boy Advance. That's really the truth of it all, of the situation, I think. I've boiled it down to this because on the podcast we've talked about it. I've never played a Gen 3 a Hoenn game, even Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which we'll get into later, but I've never played any Hoenn game. And that it wasn't totally by choice, but it was like I said, like you just said, I was a little too cool for Pokemon at that point. Or maybe it wasn't even me that was, but my peers around me were like, you're still playing that? You're still doing that? You're 13 years old back in that day. It wasn't a very cool thing to do. It was like, it's a little bit for, like kids. Why are you still doing that? You need to grow up, essentially. So at that point, there was all of that, but there was also, I didn't have a Game Boy Advance, so I was just like, whatever, I'm not going to really go into try to get it just for something like that. I'm not really convinced by the whole thing. I did, like, my friends, a few of my friends, close friends, his younger brother got it, so I did like watch. Sometimes I would watch him on the Game Boy Advance and just see it. But yeah, that's the story with Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. When Emerald came around, I was that Rayquaza on the front. I was like, man, that is so cool, but I still didn't end up getting it. And yeah, so I grew out of it. Essentially, there was a time where it was just like not Pokemon for me. And, like you said, I ended up going to school for, like, this is years later. I ended up going to school for art and music and different things like that. I'm just trying to just look at my notes really quick because I forget what what I had there. Yeah. So yeah, I went to school for those things, and they really also shaped who I am. I'm a singer as well. I don't know if that's another thing. So I just got into like everything else in life essentially at this time, which is weird because it was like there was no Pokemon in my life, so I started doing all these other things, which is, I had to find that balance essentially. But yeah, it was a time. I did Gen 4. I did go back for Gen 4, and it was like a very cool time. I played Diamond version. And because the DS was crazy, right? When it first came out, people were like, "Oh, you can like talk to each other, chat to each other, and this stuff." And so I was like, I really need to have this system. And so once I got it, I got Diamond, and I played it, and I really enjoyed it. Platinum was I played Platinum as well, and I really enjoyed it. But it wasn't like the same kind of love that I had before, essentially. I played it like a more casual type of experience. So yeah, that's a bit of that time frame of my life.
I mean, I think it happens to us all where life just happens, obviously,
Yes,
sometimes. And so, especially at that age, the games get put to one side. And it's wonderful that you discovered the music and art side of yourself. So I guess, first of all, it's staggering to hear that you still haven't played a Hoenn game, and I hope that at some point in life you can say to yourself, okay, I don't know, I've got a summer free or whatever, or I'm taking some time off. I'm just going to make inroads and play Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald and just get lost in it. Because I always think that's actually so exciting. The fact that you've sort of preserved that experience for yourself for a later point in life. It's going to be great when you dip back in. Is that on your to-do list?
Yeah, so actually what's crazy about that is I've said this a few times on our podcast, Hidden Power. And so many of our supporters were like, you have to play it. You have to play it. So I started. I turned on the game. I got my starter in Emerald version because I didn't want to play Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire as my first like Hoenn experience. I wanted to experience something original. Well, not original, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I played like a couple hours of it, but I'm very slow at playing Pokemon games, so I just like was running around and catching the Pokemon I wanted. Got my starter, and so I haven't really got into it yet, but I did begin the journey so I'm streaming it on Hidden Power doing that. So it's really, I'm excited about it. I really should have done it last year, probably when we didn't have much going on in the Pokemon world, but now with Legend CA coming out and all those things, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
But I did feel the same, like what you're saying. For a long time, I was like, I really want to play these games, but I also want it to be like the experience, kind of like a good experience instead of just like doing it. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's something special to it.
You've got to take your time. I'm very much like you as well. I will check every trash can. I will speak to every NPC.
Yes.
Yeah. You just want to milk the game for all it's worth, essentially. But in terms of your music and art school, so you're a singer. That is that sort of the main thrust of what you do in terms of music.
Yes. Yeah. I did learn some like music theory and stuff like that. It's been a while now, but I've just always been, let's say, I don't want to say talented, but it's talent, but it's like, it comes from my parents. I just like natural stuff that is passed down to you. So my mom's a singer, my dad's a drummer, my dad's an artist. So it's like art is just like living through me, essentially. I didn't have to work so much for it. I did, but not so much, which is just, great. It's a great thing. But so it's good and bad because a lot of things that I like are like artistic mediums or like things like that, and I'm not so much into math or business and stuff like that. So like it's just like the artist side of me is like very strong, and it comes out in all of these in just in life. So I was like, I got to go to school for that kind of thing because that's who I am, essentially. I am that kind of person. But yeah. So.
When you were saying before we started recording about how the technology side of things you're getting better at. I'm very much the same, Soul. I know how to do the basic things, but I think you and I both, we connect on that more artistic side of things. And then in terms of where the art comes in, was that, at that point, was that just sort of all forms? Presumably you'd always enjoyed drawing, or was it also painting? Tell us more.
Yeah. So going to school for it, it was all of those things. I didn't get into like sculpting or anything, but I feel like I could. I feel sometimes I'm like I really want to try doing something like that. But yeah, drawing and painting, and I did some 3D modeling at one point, but I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. It was so odd. But I feel like I should try that again, to be honest, because nowadays it's a big thing. Back then I was, young and crazy. I was in a band at that time too. I was also in a band in my late teens, early 20s. So there was a lot of that stuff going on as well.
Fascinating. Great. Well, now it's time to learn who's going to be Pokemon number 3 on your dream team alongside Charmeleon and Mew. Yeah,
so we take a big jump here, and we're gonna go to Golisopod actually, and I'll say shiny Golisopod if I can. Yes, because the story behind it is essentially that it was the first Pokemon I ever shiny hunted, and Gen 7, we'll get into it maybe, as we go on here, but Gen 7 for me was kind of when I came back fully into the Pokemon, like, hardcore fandom kind of thing. Between, like, Gen 3 and Gen 7, or Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, Sun and Moon, like, that whole period, I had ebbs and flows, like ups and downs with Pokemon. Sometimes I was like, like a big fan. Sometimes I was like, whatever, so it was a little up and down. And so Gen 7 or Sun and Moon have such a like big place in my heart, almost to the point of like Gold and Silver at this point. It's very, very close. So Golisopod, we'll talk about Gen 7 in a minute, but Golisopod, I was like, I like this shiny more than the original so much. And it was that those little details of it that made me really want it so badly that I actually shiny hunted the thing, which I'd never done before, because I couldn't put that much time into it, at that point, especially. So, it was a great Pokemon to have on my team. I brought it over to Ultra Sun and Moon as well. So,
nice. Shiny Pokemon, for anyone unfamiliar, are ultra rare, alternately coloured versions of Pokemon that sparkle on encounter. They're not otherwise different from regular Pokemon, but because of that rarity, they are highly prized. So, well, I guess the first question is, how long did it take to get that shiny Golisopod?
Oh, it took a little while. So the way that you shiny hunt the Wimpod in that game was, it's on the beach. I forget the name of the beach, but it's on a beach there, and it just runs back and forth. So it's not like a, back in the day, you would have to go in the tall grass and you couldn't see the Pokemon. You just random encounter them. But with this one, you could see it running back and forth. So it just was a soft resetting over and over and over to run into it and, hope that it was shiny. It didn't take so long. I don't remember the exact count of resets, but it probably took a couple hours, I would imagine.
Okay.
If I remember right. Yeah, it wasn't like crazy. And I was very thankful for that.
Yeah.
I was very happy.
I also have a question here about what that first partner was that you chose in Emerald.
Oh, that was a tough one. That's funny because I really like Blaziken the most of the final evolutions, but my favorite of all of the Hoenn starters is actually Grovyle, Lizard, right? So I didn't know what to do. I asked the chat, and then I just randomly picked. I just went for it. I just like on the fly. I just picked one, and I picked Grovyle. So, so he's gonna stay Grovyle. He's not gonna evolve into Sceptile.
Oh, cool. Very nice. Okay, what do you think it was? I mean, I know you said that you far preferred Golisopod's shiny to its regular form. What do you think it was about Golisopod in the first place that spoke to you so much?
Oh, I love bug type Pokemon. I am a bug type user, let's say. Yeah. If I was a gym leader, that's what I'd be. I just love the bug type designs. Like almost all of them speak to me. Like even the ones that I'm not as fond of, I'm just like, you're still cool. But yeah, more love for bug type Pokemon. That's what we need. So Galisbod is right up there. That I was going to say that actually is that this one is one that is just one of my favorite designs, period, in the Pokemon world. So it would be on, like top 5, top 10 favorites, something like that. Yeah, it's a samurai, and it's a crazy bug with. I like a lot of sharp edges. Yeah, so sharp edges work for me.
Okay. Fair enough. I agree. I'm also a massive bug type fan. It's an underrated type, I think. And I just like the idea of trying to bring out their potential. The idea is that you use them early in the game and then maybe you move on to other types. But no, let's stay loyal to our bug type. So Shiny Gliscobod, welcome to the team. Now, as you said, we're going to first impression from there into a whole bevy of things here, one of which is coming back to Pokemon in Generation 7, but also traveling, photography, social media, and trying to make it as an artist.
Yeah, so this whole Gen 7, let's just start there. So once Sun and Moon came out, or was coming out, the whole 20th anniversary, it was big. I actually got into like listening to creators on YouTube at that point in time. So like before, with Generation 6 and Kalos, I was in school doing music stuff, and all of a sudden I came home one summer, I think, and I was like, there's like 70 new Pokemon I didn't even know. So I like looked them all. I was like, I have to see them all right now. I looked them all up. I'm looking at the Gen 6 like decks, and I like them. They're probably not my favorite designs, and maybe it's because I didn't have that connection, but I looked at them and I was like, okay, and there's not so many here. I'm like, where's all of them? There's tons of Mega Evolutions that I didn't even know about. But yeah, so for the new Pokemon, I was a little, here and there about it. I played Gen 6, and then I was like, okay, that was fun. And then that was it. So the whole 20th anniversary, I started getting into the YouTube scene, like listening to it all. And then, that the trailer of like, it all comes together. It's all like everything from Pokemon's coming back. Like, you have to get this game. They promoted Sun and Moon so much. There was trailers like every month, maybe twice a month, and those really kept me going. Like I kept watching them. I kept being like, I need this. So it worked on me. A lot of people don't like it, but I really was like, this kind of got me back into Pokemon, like very strongly back into Pokemon. Mostly that whole promotional cycle and just being excited for Pokemon again. Like the whole love for it came back to me in a strong way. A lot of it was probably because of YouTube, because I would see other people now that were into it. Little did I know this had been going on since Generation 6 and Kalos, but I just hadn't checked in yet. So, I got Moon. Yeah, I got Moon, and I played through it. I really enjoyed the differences, and it felt different than other Pokemon games to me. I really enjoyed it. It was weird because I hadn't like locked in on a Pokemon game in years, so it was a whole like almost new experience. So yeah, that was Gen 7. I don't know if you asked something else with it as well.
No, I was just talking about this whole time with traveling, photography, social media, and the trying to make it as an artist as well. Right.
So the this whole thing is what it inspired me, but I was also traveling a lot. I was at this point teaching singing to people. So I would go around. I was also in Italy a lot of this time. I lived there. And I was mostly in Europe doing these like week-long seminars or like short schools to be teaching people how to sing, essentially. But it wasn't anything it wasn't the very lasting kind of thing. So I was like in and out here and there. So I was traveling around quite a bit. I traveled to many European cities. I love Europe. I love all of that. So I was just living my best life, essentially. yeah, so while I was doing that, I also was still like enamored by Gen 7 and Pokemon and all of these things, and I was like, I could start drawing like fan art, or just just different kinds of things, and try to put it online and see how people like it. So I was trying to see if there was a way that I could, get into the Pokemon sphere, the fandom, if you might call it that, by doing artwork, because that's what I've been doing essentially my whole life. So it was a big part of that, and that's where SOULSILVERART actually started, was there. That's why there's the art in the name. It's funny. And Soul Silver, actually, I was like, I can't just do silver version. I played Soul Silver, don't get me wrong, I played it, but to me, like, silver version is, the nostalgia is always the bigger thing. But I was like, how can I make this a cool name? So Soul Silver was great. I love that I ended up being Soul, because Soul is I think a really beautiful name, actually, for anyone. But yeah, so I was trying to do that. I was trying to make it in the Pokemon sphere as an artist. It didn't really pan out that way, obviously, as you can see today. It wasn't the art that ended up getting me there. But yeah, it was the beginnings of all of this, right? It was the way that I entered into the Pokemon fandom or content creation kind of world. So
okay. And then what about the photography side of things?
Yeah, so I put that in there. It's just like another facet of what I do. Like I said, with the artist side of things, it taught me more than anything how to be on social media, I would say. Right. So I was just, as I was traveling around, I took many photos. I still take many photos as I go around. It's just a part of my nature, I suppose, but I take lots of photos of scenery more than anything, and just beautiful sceneries, and I would edit them. I learned how to edit the photos and post them onto Instagram, things like that. So it's a big part of my social media upbringing, let's say. So it played into all of this all at the same time. I was like, I can draw something, edit it, and put it on social media, just like I'm doing with these photos. I had a photo account that was growing pretty big, and I was like, oh wow. But I didn't fully understand. Like how everything was working. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, I wish that I had started. If I knew that YouTube was going to be something like this, I could have just have gone on it and started talking about things like back in the day when YouTube was very small. Things like that. It's hindsight, right? Yeah. But yeah, the photography side of it was that bit.
Okay. Very interesting. Well, before we continue with your tale, it's now time to discover what's going to be Pokemon number 4 on your dream team alongside Charmeleon, Mew, and Shiny Golisopod.
Okay. Give me 1 second, because I got to pull it up, even though I am very much in love with this Pokemon. It's going to be Hisuian Zoroark, actually, which is the mascot, this guy here. So it is kind of the mascot because it has a lot to do with all of this as well. At the time when I was trying to be like a Pokemon fan artist kind of thing, I had started this Twitter account, which was actually my personal account, this X account, let's say. That was my personal account, and I just started talking about Pokemon on it. I literally was just talking, just like, giving my opinion here, giving my opinion there, posting my own artwork, like trying to do that. And then, a little game called Pokemon Legends Arceus came around. And I was like, I love foxes so much, and that fox mask and the whole like Japanese, cultural vibe to it. I was like, this is so cool, and it's perfect for like a anonymous Twitter person. You know what I mean? Like, not show my face kind of person. Because I hadn't done a face reveal at all at that point, so I was like, a mask is cool. So I put that as my profile picture, the Hisuian Zoroark mask. The Baneful Fox mask is what it's called. That was a gift in Pokemon Legends Arceus. And Pokemon Hisuian Zoroark was after that Pokemon. I love foxes. I loved when they revealed it. I was like, this is beautiful. So it has a special place in my heart because it is essentially my mascot from that whole situation. Soul Silverart was almost synonymous with that for a long period of time there, and I still try to use it in most of my profiles, pictures, or whatever.
Foxes are my favorite animal, so I love hearing you talk about this. Yeah,
we have a lot in common here. Yeah, this is very
absolutely
true.
Yeah. When you eventually move to Italy, if hopefully one day you do that, then I'll pop over. We're gonna have some beautiful pasta, and we can just talk the whole night long about foxes and Pokemon.
I would love that. I would. Yes, we should do that. Even if I'm not living there, we should do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Hisuian Zoroark, yeah. So, okay, that makes sense as to why that spoke to you. And I guess, again, at this point, we were talking about Generation 7, but now we're past Generation 8 almost, because Pokemon Legends Arceus came after Sword and Shield, the main series, Generation 8 game. So, you'd got a Nintendo Switch at this point, and you'd played Sword and Shield?
Yes. So, like I said, the Generation 7, boom in my life was I'm all in with Pokemon now. So Generation 8, I was very much all in. I was posting a lot on the Twitter page actually then. So I was still using that account for posting about Pokemon. It's just that no one saw it at that time. So it was just, and it was personal as well. It wasn't very geared towards trying to say something to other people. Essentially, I was just putting my own thoughts out there. But yeah, this was all about Gen 8, just seeing the new Pokemon. Sword and Shield, their whole roster of Pokemon is my favorite. They're my favorite designs, actually. All of Generation 8's designs are my favorite as of right now. It won't change with the current ones, but I think that in a new game, that could possibly overtake it. But yeah, I just loved those designs, and then including the Legends Arceus ones. The whole period there was just wonderful, and yeah, it just was a great time.
Yeah. Legends Arceus comes around. So then, well, I guess the question is, what had you been doing in terms of, your profile picture and things before Hisuian Zoroark came around?
I don't really remember what I had before it, to be honest. It was, like I said, it was a personal account. I don't think it was a picture of my face. I don't really remember, but yeah, like I said, I was actually covering a lot of news and stuff too, as well. I would just be like, wow, this happened, but not in the sense of, anything official or trying to,
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Okay, well, Hisuian Zoroark, welcome to the team. Now we'll cast off our illusion from there into the Twitter account success that you experienced and what you do now.
Yeah. So from there, it just happened. That's kind of how I always say it. I'm I just got lucky. I don't know what I did. I will say that nowadays I think it's much easier with how X is doing their algorithms and stuff. I think it is much easier to gain a following and do certain things. And I'm not just talking myself up or anything. I just think that back then, I think it was a lot harder to get that many followers. And the way that it was happening was just shocking to me. I was I can't even understand what's happening. It was just hundreds and hundreds of followers a day. And I was like, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. I'm just literally putting my opinions out here. Acting a little bit crazy, but yeah, so what I do essentially, or what I started doing, let's give a little timeline of it, was I would just post these threads of theories, and people would really enjoy them. So they would just be long blocks of writing. I realized that I could write, essentially, so I started writing quite a bit. I would write just my opinions and different theories, or inspiration for certain Pokemon, just to inform people about certain things. And people would love it. They would be like, oh, wow. And the whole thing is that Pokemon Legends Arceus had so much depth to their Pokemon designs that you could go really deep with any of them. And I would do these threads on them. I'd do the threads on Hokkaido, the whole Japanese region there, so different things like that, and people really liked it. And then I'd post random opinions of things as well that were a lot of people were your opinions are all bad. Which is, it's kind of it's a signature move of mine, which is, it's not on purpose. It's just literally, that's the funny thing about it is a lot of people think that, this is bait or this is something that you do on purpose to like get in some kind of engagement. But no, this is actually just me. I literally think this. And so I would post those things and they would be controversial a lot of times, but it like helps you grow. I didn't even know. I wasn't trying to do that. So yeah, my Twitter account kind of grew and grew, and then I started reporting more on news kind of things, just things that are coming out, but also with like a passion of a Pokemon fan. Do you know what I mean? At the same time, not just like a news reporter, because I'm not in for the business, side of things. I'm in for the like, this is what you guys like, this is what I like. Let's just talk about it. Let's share about it. I love talking with people about Pokemon. So that's how it all. It was so much about the community at one point. I was just like, this is all about community. Like, we're just going to talk about Pokemon on my Twitter page. So I was replying to everyone that I possibly could and just being like, yeah, we all love this. This is great. So we would work together to build a lot of those threads and things like that. So yeah, it was a really fun time, and it's still what I do to this day. It's just it grew so big that I can't talk to everyone. So that's really how it ended up happening.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. Yeah. And I guess, how did it feel having, you said you discovered the Pokemon YouTube side of things around Generation 6, Generation 7. Of course, this wasn't YouTube, but it was putting yourself out there on the internet in a way that you're talking about Pokemon. Or in a forum where you're talking about Pokemon. So, how did it feel suddenly to be part of that world?
Yeah, it was very weird. I remember getting all of these followers and then being, I don't know, like, it's funny how it ends up happening, but I was like probably 3,000 followers, and I was like, I could make this into something. Something could happen here. And like I had said before with the photography and just getting into social media, and I had already was kind of trying to do this in a sense. I just didn't expect it to be happening on this platform in any way. I was like, I wasn't prepared for it, but I was like, oh yeah, this could end up being something. So I'm going to actually push for it. I'm going to actually try to get into it. And like you had just asked, like, there was many creators and I was fond of them, and I just reached out to them, a lot of them. I would be like, hey, do you like this? You can use it at any point. So doing that, I'm very much like a networking person as well. Like, I love meeting people. I love talking to new people. I feel like every person has their own crazy story. It's a lot of like what you're doing here. I love what you're doing here. It's just, it's so amazing to like get a backstory of people that you only see their professional side. Let's say. So I'm very similar in this way as well, where I just love to talk to people and get to know them. And so I reached out to a bunch of creators at that time, and they're just like me and you. We're just people. So I wasn't like intimidated or anything. It's just like, hey, we both have this common love for this. We all grew up in some way or shape loving Pokemon, and we have this in common. So let's work together. Let's talk together. Things like that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's fascinating to hear how that kicked off. And I know we'll talk more about that in just a moment, but now it's time to discover who's going to be Pokemon number 5 on your dream team with Charmeleon, Mew, Shining Golisopod, and Hisuian Zoroark.
So here, selfishly, I actually started just getting into my favorites because, I mean, that is a lot of this. But essentially, the ones that I've told you so far all had the reasons of, the moments in my life. And this one does as well. This is Lugia. Lugia is my number 5, I guess. But that is because we just go all the way back to the beginning. Lugia, from essentially when I was Charmeleon, Mew, and then it was Lugia, and then it was forever Lugia. It was never any other Pokemon. No other Pokemon ever beat Lugia for that entire time. Even when I wasn't that much into Pokemon, I would be like, yeah, Lugia is my favorite Pokemon. Like, that's the one. And I always loved it from the Pokemon movie 2000, and even to this day, it is very near and dear place in my heart. I really do like dragons, actually, and I think that Lugia is like, even with just my personal preferences with Pokemon, I think Lugia has the bird and dragon aspect mixed together is like a very good combination for me. I guess. I really think that was a big part of it, but it was integral to my whole childhood as well. Like, if there was a way that I could imagine riding on a Lugia, that's what I wanted to do, so that's that Pokemon.
You're so right about the design of Lugia, how it's kind of dragon, it's kind of bird, it's kind of something else as well. It's a really really fascinating design, and of course your love of Pokemon Silver version, it makes total sense for Lugia to be joining the team here. Do you remember because in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or particularly Pokemon Soul Silver, encountering Lugia is written into the storyline. But in Pokemon Silver, it's kind of an optional side quest. Do you remember when you encountered Lugia in Generation 2?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the whole Whirl Island thing. It's weird how you remember things, because then if you go back and play them now, it's like, they're just little tiny graphic, little pixels everywhere. But in my mind, like as a kid, it was something magical to go into the Whirl Islands and go through all the caverns. Like to me, in my mind, the imagination is just running wild. And when you get there and you see the little Lugia sprite, because it was its own sprite, like overworld sprite, which was... it's so different from all the other Pokemon. They made it feel special. It's the Pokemon on the box cover, and I had already fallen in love with it from the movie, So once I got there, I was like, this is it. This is the moment. And I took it and I actually used it. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I used it like on my team to defeat the Elite Four and the champion and all that. I'm pretty sure it was before. I mean, it could be mixing up playthroughs or something, but I think it was. So it was just one of my team members that I had to have like all the time. Funny story about Lugia in Scarlet and Violet. I love what they did with its model. Like they updated its model quite a bit. I'm a much bigger fan of the newer model of it, the 3D model. And so they give you one sports ball, I think it is. Like they give you one sports ball in Scarlet and Violet. It's a special one. You can't get it any other way, and it's a Johto ball, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, there's the whole like quests to catch the legendaries at the end of the second DLC, the Indigo Disc, with I forget his name, but it's a funny name. Snacksworth, yes. So I just worked and tried to get to that one Lugia like snack, and then finally got it, went to Lugia, and this was like another like kind of Golisopod thing where I tried to catch it with this one ball. You have one ball, it's the only time you can catch it. So I just like kept throwing this ball, and I finally got it after a little bit. Not as hard as a shiny hunt, but still very rewarding. And now that Lugia will forever be in that ball, and I really enjoy that. I'm like, this is the Johto Lugia,
Yeah, wonderful. Oh, I love that. I love that Pokemon just offers the capacity to, personalize things to that degree. It's not just owning a Lugia, but it's owning a Lugia in that particular Pokeball in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, incredible. Well, Lugia, welcome to the team. And before we round out this Dream Team, we will Aeroblast over from there now into Hidden Power Podcast and the content journey.
Yeah. So this is more of like the future, right? Like, I guess as that happened with Twitter or X, I met tons of people. I ended up talking to different creators. We would do like these mini podcasts where we would just like talk about Pokemon with different people, like just a whole bunch of random people would come in and out. And we really started like making what's the right word? Like it's just a group of friends, like a club, let's say a club maybe. But just a group of friends that were just like, oh, look, this is happening. Did you see this? This is cool. Let's talk about it. So we started talking about it. I'm sure that you've heard a little bit from Lumi and Dusty about like the creation of Hidden Power, but which is the podcast. We would do that on and off for like a year. We were just talking with different people, and then it kind of slowed down a bit, and like Lumi, I think I watched Lumi's episode on this, but I was like, I really want to still keep talking about Pokemon. And even if it's slowed down with other people, I'm like, let's do it. Just me and you, Lumi, let's talk, cause he was one of the people there. And he was like, I had already might be doing something with Dusty. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, if you want, the three of us can do something. So that ended up being the birth of that. That's like the short version, because I know Lumi gave a pretty good one. You guys should go watch that episode of him for a more in-depth version of that. But yeah, so we just started a podcast about talking about our passion for Pokemon, essentially, like just discussion. The three of us can all talk, as you can apparently see that I've monologued quite a bit in this, but yeah, it was a really, it's been so good. It just kept growing and growing. Now I'm really in the whole YouTube side of things that I did not expect that as either, because I was like, we're doing this for fun, like we're just trying to have a good time and enjoy Pokemon. And it's like the same kind of thing happened with the Twitter, it's just it grew, and now we're just like, oh, we need to take it a little seriously now too. So got a little more professional and all that. And as for like the future of it all, we're still trying to grow that, still trying to make that as much as it can be, because we really love doing it. It's been such a magical time, and the support has been incredible. Like I never would have thought that there would be so much support from people. And then me personally, I'm still trying as well to like build my own YouTube thing up as well. Like, because now I'm in the sphere, right? Now I'm in the whole content creation side of it for real. Like my face is out there. I did a face reveal on Hidden Power, so and that's when my face was out there. So yeah, it's a very, very cool thing.
Yeah, and I'll link Dusty Go-Go's and Trader Lumi's episodes in the description below for people who would like to go and check out that. Episodes of this very podcast where I talk to them about their life stories and dream teams. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Lumi said that the sort of time period we're talking about when you started talking about building Hidden Power podcast was around the release of Scarlet and Violet.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, we had been talking back and forth before that, like I was saying, with other creators as well. It was just such a big group that we were like, we can't make this into an actual podcast or anything. But so we kind of somehow made it there, just the three of us. And yeah, it was right before Scarlet and Violet came out that we like did our first episode, which is pretty wild, just like reviewing it kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, coming up to 3 years now, I guess.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah. And have you found that over the course of doing the Hidden Power podcast, you've just sort of, that passion has continued to grow and it's been everything that you wanted it to be?
Yeah, I would say we have big aspirations for sure. But to me, like from my side of everything, I just love Pokemon and love talking about Pokemon. So I really am like, I get to do this. It's so wonderful that I get to like just show up twice a week, 3 times a week and talk about Pokemon. I have no one else to talk about it with, essentially, in the real life. I do, but it's different when someone's as passionate as you are. And then there's, like I said as well, the whole community aspect about it. I think that shines through, and that's like the thing that makes me the most satisfied or happy, or I don't know what word I'm looking for, but that's essentially the biggest thing, where we have this community and we talk to them like once or twice a week about Pokemon. Like it's very cool. Yes, tons of people to talk to and get to know, and yeah, all of that. So it is in a very good spot with that, and I'm excited to get to know more people. We have guests on all the time. That's how we got to know you as well. It's like just meeting new people to have connections with them, not for like any like we can help each other, but it's not just for helping each other. It's for like talking to each other and having a friendship. For me personally, I like getting to know people just so that I know them now, and I'm like the person that's like, oh, I met you once and now we're friends. But yeah, so I I would love. I'm not going to Worlds. I'm jealous. I don't know if you are, but I'm jealous of everyone who is going. Because I just one of these days, I'm gonna end up going and talking to everybody there. But it's that kind of thing where it's like, I want to be there and talk to people and be like, oh wow, no, this is you. This is actually who you are. Because there is an aspect of like the whole like I'm talking to you through a camera, or all of that, and then you meet someone in person and you get to know the person really, and it's a really good thing. But
I will be going to Worlds, and it's
I thought so.
Very exciting indeed.
But
we'll miss you very much. And look forward to being able to actually hang out in person. Now, I know that you mentioned there as well the channel that you're developing, but I'm going to save asking you about that channel for a bit later on, because now it's going to be time to discover what's going to be the 6th and final Pokemon rounding out your dream team.
Yes. So this one's easy for anyone that knows me. My final one is Ultra Necrozma. That is my favorite Pokemon of all time now. And what's special about it is essentially that it dethroned Lugia. And you can see through this whole episode how everything has happened. Like, it was Gen 2 and then Gen 7. And somehow, in Gen 7, I also found my favorite Pokemon. Again, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I love regular Necrozma as well. He's up there. But it's all the sharp edges and stuff. But this design is so good. That's essentially it. I love dragons, but the whole thing is that it's like a dead star essentially, or like a black hole kind of Pokemon, and then it needs light to transform. And when it does get the light, it's like a shell that transforms into a dragon. I don't know if you've ever seen like the concept sheets, the concept art of them, but like the regular Necrozma's like whole body is Ultra Necrozma's face. It's just like comes up and becomes a huge light dragon, and I am passionate about it, as you can tell. I just think it's the best Pokemon design ever. I don't know what's gonna beat it one day, but it's very near to my heart. If I could change my channel mascot, that might be what I'd do, because it's just that it's that good of a design for me. Number one.
It's amazing how, and I'm sure these are all sort of bundled up together for you, but the fact that Generation 7 was your re-entry, and then it was Ultra Necrozma that spoke to you so much. The fact that you love Generation 2, and at the time it was Lugia. I'm sure part of it is just because you love those generations so much that you love those Pokemon, but also obviously they happen to be designs that really gelled with you as well, with the dragon / lizard side of things, and fascinating to hear more about the lore there as well. Yeah.
I think it also it has very similar traits to Lugia in my mind, like the facial things. Because I'm very much about the faces of Pokemon as well. It's a very odd thing, but I think it comes when you're like an artist a bit. So like I pick out little details. I'm a very detail-oriented person. So I think that its face has that same bird and lizard dragon qualities mixed in together. I really do think that Ultra Necrozma's face looks like a beak almost, and it looks very similar, reminiscent of Lugia's face as well. Just to go a little deeper, I could keep going, but I'll stop.
Yeah, true. No, it's fascinating to hear. And, that's going to complete the dream team. And at this point, now that I know that Ledian is not on your dream team, my Ledian says hi to yours, my little Ledian plushie. I can see yours in the background there.
He's chilling. He's one of my favorites too, don't get me wrong. There's a lot. This is not my favorite list. This is my influential list. So, yes, Ledian is dear to the heart.
You were talking about underrated Pokemon and how dear they are too, and also bug Pokemon, and it's exactly the same for me. Love Ledian too. But this means overall, SOULSILVERART, that your complete dream team is Charmeleon, Mew, Shiny Golisopod, Hisuian Zoroark, Lugia, and Ultra Necrozma. And we've got a real broad span there. We've got a couple of Generation 1, we've got Generation 2, of course, going all the way up to, Generation 8, I suppose, but Generation 7 holds such a special place to you as well. And we've got a couple of lizard Pokemon on there, but we've got Fox too, we've got Bug. So I think it really is a nice marriage of all of your different interests within the animal world and, of course, the Pokemon world. Yeah. But now, I have to ask you, Sol, if you were to choose one of these to be your partner Pokemon, which would it be?
Oh, that's so tough. Oh man, I want to say Necrozma so bad. Can I say Necrozma? I don't know.
Of course you can.
I once made a post, actually. It was very funny. Because I create content all the time. It's crazy what I actually do now. I don't want to just be like, if you would allow me to just talk a little more, I don't want my account on Twitter to just be, just one of those accounts that posts just like funny things all the time or anything just random. I actually am out there to try to create content daily for Pokemon fans. Like that's my thing. Like, and every day I sit down and I make like 5 to 6 posts on Twitter for content creation, not just for like, just to get me more numbers or something. And in all of this, I got there because I once made this post about how I wanted, possibly in the future, a Legends game. And this is just like random. It was a Legends game set in Johto, like the Johto, the Ekrutik city is in the background, that one artwork. Some people will know it. And then I had Silver, like the rival Silver, who is my favorite Pokemon character. He's there, and then beside him I put just the base Necrozma, it was funny because it was like his partner Pokemon. And so I loved it. I loved that picture, and I was like, yes, this is what I would do. So to answer your question, I'd probably go with Necrozma, and I just cheat a little bit, and I say that it's just Necrozma, and he can change into all the forms whenever he wants. So it's kind of like a 4-in-1.
Sure. Yeah. Are you saying specifically that it's going to be Ultra Necrozma on the Dream Team?
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay, fine. That's probably one of the most dominant partner Pokemon we've ever had on the show.
I don't know what it would be like.
Massive light dragon. Exactly. Yeah. Hilarious. Wow. Are you saying that you came up with this concept for a Pokemon Legends game before Pokemon Legends Arceus existed?
Yes, this was before that.
Okay. Yeah. Fascinating. Okay, well, telling the future. Ultra Necrozma, you are Soul Silver Art's partner Pokemon. And now a slightly different kind of question for you, Soul. If you were a Pokemon, what do you think you would be?
Yeah, so this is a really hard one. Because it's like, you don't want to say that you would be something like quite as legendary or something, but, it's like, I like the small ones too. I am much more of like I like big Pokemon and, fully evolved Pokemon. I should have prepared for this question. There's so many Pokemon. What if I said...
to get you on the spot.
Yeah. What if I said Ledian? What if I said it? I don't know.
You can say it. I think a good way in can be thinking about what type you would be. And I can see Buggerfly. I can see Ledian for you, actually. I can see it. Is that what you're going with? That what you're vibing with?
Yeah, what the heck? Why not? I think yes.
Ledian. Happy-go-lucky, and the bug type. Sort of, I like how optimistic and upbeat it is, and just trying to spread that positivity and hope in the world. And I guess that's a similarity to what you're doing with your Twitter account or X account. Yes. So, what do you all think? Do you agree that of all the Pokemon there are, SOULSILVERART would be a Ledian? Let us know in the comments. We'd be fascinated to read. Speaking of you all, it's now time for your community questions. I posted online, as I always do, asking for questions for Soul. Thank you so much for submitting them. I apologise I won't have time to feature all of them, and I apologise if I mispronounce any of your names or handles. So to kick things off, it's your pal from Hidden Power, Trader Lumi, who would like to know, what are you looking forward to most about the, at the time of recording, upcoming Pokemon game, Pokemon Legends ZA?
Thanks, Lumi. Of course. I would probably say, he's probably asked me this question before, actually. But I think the new battle system, I think, is the most exciting thing to me, which I am kind of a purist when it comes to Pokemon. Like, I really don't like when things change so much because of all of the old nostalgia stuff, but I do like change as well. So it's tough, but I think that the new battle system will be pretty exciting. We have yet to play it or yet to try it, so I don't know, but I do think that is the most exciting thing to me to like think of as for playing the game. Like I'm really excited to play it. So
the new battle system, that's interesting, because battles are not something that have come up at all in our chat in terms of the Pokemon
that's true.
world. But and certainly I see you as someone who's far more invested in the lore and the stories behind the Pokemon too. But you do, well, I guess if you've played so many Pokemon games at this point, you do fundamentally still enjoy, because that is the cool way of getting through the game, doing Pokemon battles.
Yeah, but you are right. There's so many things to say, right? So it's tough, but one of the main things for me is Pokemon, to me, is mostly the designs, like because I'm so invested in the artwork and you know, the design aspect of it. For me, Pokemon, if we get new designs, I'm so happy. You know, like that's what I want the most. But like you said, we're playing the games too. Like it's an experience as well. And I do actually enjoy a lot of the battle side of things. I forgot to mention this in the first point, but I was so happy when an Italian won Worlds last year. Actually, it was Luca, and I was just I was on cloud nine at that point. We streamed it, and so like I really love watching Worlds, especially more than other like regionals and stuff like that. I'm not as much into it because, you know, doubles and VGC is like kind of hard to get into for someone like me, I guess. But yeah, watching Worlds is like watching your favorite football, soccer team. You know, like to me, it's a whole nother level. And an Italian winning is like, I was freaking out. I was very happy. So there's both sides.
Yeah, and Luca Cherubelli, of course, the world champion from 2024, winning the Honolulu 2024 Pokemon World Championships. Yeah, fascinating. Well, thank you very much for that, Sol, and thank you for your question, Lumi. Now, next question here from Wheeler CK 16049. Your favorite Pokemon to draw, general favorite design of Pokemon, and what you look for. I guess we've heard a little bit about that in terms of design, but what's your favorite Pokemon to draw?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I don't really know. I don't know if I have one, to be honest. I draw many things. I do like the sharp edges, so like, you know, drawing things that are just like in straight lines are kind of fun, more than round, I suppose, where it's just like drawing a circle is hard. It really is. But so, and also thinking of all the Pokemon to draw. I almost want to say Scizor because it's like one of my other favorites, and it's so like you draw your favorites quite often, I would say. Yeah, I will just go with that because I can't think of anything else. Yeah, Scizor is probably a fun one to draw. I've done like certain fan arts of it that are, you know, experimental a bit, so it's been fun to draw.
Very cool, yeah. I guess with Scizor as well, you've got a nice marriage of some sharp edges, but some more rounded features as well. So it's kind of, it does well being friendly, but also being looking fierce and looking cool. So yeah, no, I think that's a fascinating answer. Thank you for that question. Now, final question here from Drift Veil Dude. Besides Hidden Power, what would you want to be your legacy in the community?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a big question.
Really good question.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it too much. I mean, other than, I guess I kind of mentioned it before with like what I'm trying to do on my Twitter. You know, Hidden Power is amazing for talking to people and meeting people and getting to talk with friends. But yeah, legacy wise, it's cool to just be a name in the what's the word? A name in the sphere, in the conversations, in the world of content creation of Pokemon. It's like, oh, I can go look at Soul's you know, content and get entertained by it, learn something new about Pokemon by it, and I can talk to Soul. He's like a real person. So like all of that put together, I guess, is mostly what I like would love for a legacy. I guess is just like, oh yeah, he knows all these things. It's cool, and we can talk about it. I can go to him to talk about Pokemon. So that's really
keeping things very simple. I think that makes total sense given how you began. You know, it was just because you enjoyed talking about Pokemon. It wasn't necessarily that you wanted to become a professional poster or a content creator.
I was more so trying for artwork. So
yeah, exactly. There you go. Well, thanks so much for all your questions there. If you'd like to submit a question for a future guest on Chazingdra Chats, you can find my handle at Chazingdra across X, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and of course YouTube. That's where I post the call-outs for questions for my guests. I'd love to hear what you'd love to hear. All right then, Sol. So we've heard a lot about you up to now. What's next for you? And I ask this in particular with reference to your own YouTube channel and what you have planned, what you have planned for your own content creation.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I'm still doing what I'm doing on Twitter, just trying to grow that and keep that going. But also on my personal YouTube channel, I have begun streaming. I really enjoy streaming because it is a whole lot of this, what we've been talking about, which is I just get to talk with people like for a couple hours about all these things, and we enjoy each other's company. And while I'm playing a game or while I'm drawing, I really would like to do like some drawing streams where I'm just drawing and talking to people. There's that side of it. I don't know if I'll ever do actual videos, but I do have so much content for it. You know what I mean? So because I'm doing the Twitter threads, that's like writing a script for a video essentially. And a lot of what I did, I would be like, hey, you should use this for your video, so it was a lot of that kind of networking at the beginning. So there is a world where I end up doing that. I've actually liked doing shorts more than anything because it's quick and simple. But yeah, I have to learn so much about editing and getting into video creation more than anything else. If I want to go that route, I definitely have a desire to do that. So we'll see. I'm in this process right now. It's funny. I was going to bring it up at one point as well, but I've kind of gone full time with this now. I'm giving it a shot. So I'm in the process of that. So maybe, in 2-3 years we'll come back and we'll end up finding out what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. It's exciting, and it's an exciting time. It's just a lot on the horizon.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this is the thing about doing a show where you're interviewing people about their life stories is, of course, it's not over yet. There's still so much more to go. But it's fascinating to get this little cross-section, almost, of where you are now, and then we'll be able to look back and see. But very exciting times indeed, Sol. And now, final question for you. Looking back from now, as a Pokemon content creator, all the way back to the young Sol who was gifted that Game Boy by that uncle, had Pokemon Yellow, what advice would you give to that young you?
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a good question. I think I would probably, if I could go back and give myself any kind of advice, it would be to maybe not waste as much time. It's an interesting thought, really, where, like if you could change something, would you change it? Or would you still be like who you are now? That's really the question that is being asked. I think. I'm a deep thinker as well, so I do think that I would just say don't like take time off. You know what I mean? Like there are times where you can take time off, but I mean there was times in my life where I was just like, I just finished school. I'm just gonna take like break. I'm going to take a break. And there was a lot of time wasted there, I think. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying you can't take a vacation or something. But I would encourage myself to, like, you got to get on it. You got to get on it because you get old quick. That's all I have to say. Like what we were talking about with time passing, like it does not feel like it was 3 years ago that I started Hidden Power with my friends. And it's just, it's a whole time thing. It's like life is going by. So you gotta get with it, get doing it. So it's an encouragement as well,
It's really interesting, yeah, absolutely. Knowing where that line is between needing to take a break and then just time to now crack on with doing things and you'll thank yourself later. Really interesting. Well, thank you very much for that, Sol. And the chat does not end there because now we'll be getting into SoulSilverArt's Rapidash round. 15 or so minutes of bonus questions that Sol is not prepared for. As with all my guests, there's so much more I want to take a deeper dive into. For example, any favourite artists that Sol has? Favourite of Sol's own Pokemon art? Hopes for Hidden Power podcast going forward, taking a bit of a deeper dive into Johto and Generation 2, and far more besides. If that would be of interest to you, then you can become a YouTube channel member where you get access to 4 bonus videos per month, the Rapidash rounds I do with my guests, as well as plenty more perks. You can click on join to see what they are, to see if they're for you, and also it'll be on my Patreon, and all of that will be linked below. Fundamentally, I really appreciate the fact that you've listened to or watched this episode in its entirety, but if you want to hang out with me and Sol for a little bit longer, then that option is available to you. Again, links in the description below. But for now, Sol, thank you so much again for joining me on Chazingdra Chats. It's been so wonderful, as I knew it would be, just having a bit of a deeper dive and having a chat about Pokemon, doing what, as you've said, you so love to do and I so love to do. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I agree with everything you just said, and I resonate with it. I enjoyed being here. It's been, very wonderful. I'm glad we get to talk more now, too. So
absolutely, yeah. Looking forward to that. And if people want to keep up with you online, Sol, where can they find you?
I'm SOULSILVERART on everything, essentially. So if you just like at SOULSILVERART, that's you'll find me.
Make sure you're checking that out and keeping up with Soul's very exciting content creation journey. And now time for some YouTube words from this side of things. I think you know what's coming. If you enjoyed, everybody, once more, please do like and subscribe. It would really mean a huge amount. And drop a comment too, because Soul, as with all of my guests, has given us so much food for thought. We'd love to know what you thought of Soul's Pokemon picks and what your own Dream Team Pokemon picks would be. And also on my channel, I mean, first of all, there are around 70 episodes of this podcast at this point, with a broad range of people in the community, not just the Hidden Power podcast hosts, but competitive players and casters and shiny hunters and the works. There's bound to be something for everyone. Spread the word about the show. You can use the hashtag 6Pokemon1Lifestory, and also on my channel, I stream competitive and casual, including shiny hunting and Nuzlocke and far more besides, so it would be a pleasure to see you there. And I do silly Pokemon flavoured comedy skits, I do joke compilations from the gags that I make at competitive Pokemon events, and far more as well. So if you're a fan of everything that the Pokemon video games have to offer, then my channel is the place for you. I'm at Chazingdra across all socials. Episodes of this podcast drop every Wednesday. But with that being said, Soul, it's now time to get into your Rapidash round. So if you're not joining us over on Patreon for that, then it's goodbye from Soul.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. See you next time on Chazingdra Chats, where there'll be another 6 Pokemon, 1 life story. Alright then, Soul, how are you feeling about these bonus questions?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready.
Let's get straight into it then. So, do you have a favourite artist?
This was the one I was like, oh boy.